Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mamaverse, the connected online self-care experience for every mom. My name is Tuhyun. I am the founder of the Mamaverse, and I wanted to create this space to help moms feel their best, spend time on themselves so that they can show up in life and in work and in family as their best. So today I'm going to be bringing Elaine Morrison of Elaine Wellness. Hello, Elaine.
Oh,
I
Tuesday.
always I always love it when technology works
It's so
easily.
exciting.
But I was just saying that today the topic that we're going to be talking about is lifestyle and diet supplements to promote healthy living, and we have Elaine here from Elaine Wellness. She has been changing the narrative around beauty and aging. You have a wealth of knowledge in this space, and you're really an advocate for promoting that beauty does come from within. And I'm excited to jump in and talk about it. Elaine, do you want to do like a quick intro?
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Tuhan. I'm so happy to be here. Yeah, my health journey started in 2013. I was in my mid 40s, having symptoms, hair loss, fatigue, gained weight, and was basically told that's just a normal part of aging and sent on my way and told there's really nothing you can do about that. So I just got very curious and went in search of answers. Turns out I had Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid autoimmune condition. And then I developed psoriasis from my scalp to my ankles. So I really went down this path of not wanting to just, take a lot of medications, use cortisone on my skin. I wanted answers and I wanted to reverse my symptoms. So it really started with radically changing my diet. So removing gluten and dairy, and then just really eating a whole food diet. I had been vegetarian and vegan, trying to resolve digestive issues. And when I added back animal protein, that really helped. And so within a span of about 8 months, I was able to bring my thyroid antibodies completely to zero when I had been told that wasn't possible. And I was also able to completely reverse the psoriasis. So I tell women all the time, symptoms are signals. They're your body's way of telling you that something isn't right.
Oh my gosh, that is an amazing story. So,
Mhm.
when you were diagnosed with Hashimoto's, is that something that you develop over time, or is that from lifestyle and diet, or is that just happen at a certain age? I don't like, how did that even, is that something you had the whole time but just didn't realize?
So autoimmune conditions, whether it's MS or Hashimoto's or lupus, we're seeing this massive rise of autoimmunity, especially in women. So it doesn't just come on overnight. It's at the root of it is typically inflammation in the body. So that can be things like an overabundance of heavy metals in your body. Do you live in a home where there's mold? A lot of homes and businesses have mold. It's definitely gut related. Your immune system begins in your gut. And I had taken hormonal birth control pills for 17 years, being told they were good for me. But what a lot of women don't realize is that they completely nutritionally deplete you. And they also disrupt your gut microbiome. So 17 years of that. And then I came off of it in my late 30s. And then in my early 40s, your body and your hormones start to change. And it just became a perfect storm. So, and also add stress in on top of that. It was a very stressful time in my life.
Yeah. Wow. I've recently heard a lot of talk about birth control. They say they're like prescribing it to like teenagers and
Yeah.
everything, saying that it'll help regulate and for your like acne and stuff, and it really, really messes up women's hormones. And people take it for, 10, 20 years. And
Right. Well, when you're on birth control, your brain and your ovaries stop talking.
Mm,
That's the simplest way to say it. And yes, it's handed out like candy, right?
mm,
It's handed out for acne, it's handed out for irregular periods, it's handed out for PCOS, for endometriosis. I mean, it's handed out for everything. I'm even seeing women in perimenopause and menopause being given birth control pills to manage those symptoms. So all it's doing is masking those symptoms. We're not making those symptoms go away. And when you're on birth control, you're not having a period. You're just having a withdrawal bleed.
oh my God, that's kind of disturbing to find out because it's so common and prevalent, and to later find out that it can have like pretty significant hormonal impacts on you. I think that's a little scary. So, okay, walking back, and then you eventually figure out that you have autoimmune. How did you even start on this like wellness journey? How did you even know that you should like eliminating, and then how to slowly add back into your diet and all of that?
Yeah, so I'm just naturally a curious person and I like to solve things. I like to figure things out.
That's why you're an
So
entrepreneur too.
that, right, Tuhan, you know that entrepreneurship is just a daily task.
Figure shit out.
Yeah, if you don't like to solve shit, don't become an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
Because it's a daily, like, how am I going to solve this? Um, I've been a certified Pilates instructor for the last 16 years. And I just thought, here I feel like I'm taking care of my health. Why is my health like literally just run off a cliff?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just got curious. And 2013, there was information, but not as prevalent as it is today. And so there's a pharmacist named Isabella Wentz who had written a book on Hashimoto's. It's pretty detailed and pretty scientific. It was a little over my head, to be honest. And then there's another OBGYN, Sarah Gottfried, who had written a book. And it was the first time I had ever even heard of Hashimoto's. And all of the symptoms that she laid out, I thought, oh, this is exactly what I'm experiencing. So I went to my own OBGYN and said, my hair is falling out and breaking. I'm sleeping 10 hours a night. I'm exhausted. I've gained 10 pounds in 3 months when nothing about my food or exercise has changed. And I got the pat on the head and like, well, that's just normal in midlife. And she said, I refuse to do the antibodies test for Hashimoto's. I'll only test your TSH. I'm like, these are all red flags. So I just started reading about the correlation between diet and autoimmunity and thought, well, I have really nothing to lose. And it was a journey to change my diet. That's not an easy thing to do.
Were you a vegetarian prior, or what was your diet like prior?
So I had become vegetarian right after I went off birth control pills, not realizing that birth control pills really do a number on your gut, and they did a number on my gut. So I felt like I couldn't eat anything. I was nauseous all the time.
Mm,
Never put two and two together. And then fast forward to like my late 30s where I was again having a lot of gut issues and thought, okay, I'll just keep removing food. So then I became vegan.
mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not coming after the vegans, but just be aware that you will become very B12 deficient and you will become anemic. So you're not getting the nutrients that you need. And so
Mm-hmm.
I literally went from never eating fish, chicken, and meat for 25 years to starting with some fish and adding it back in. And as soon as I started the animal protein again is when I started to feel better.
So was it the birth control that was the main factor, or was it also something in the diet as well?
Well, birth control pills are very depleting to,
Mm-hmm.
so you're going to get very B deficient with birth control pills.
And then
It's
on top of being a vegetarian, it's like
it's
double
a
compounding. Mm,
it's a perfect storm.
yeah.
Um, you also, your liver will become very sluggish when you're on birth control because your body has to get rid of all those synthetic hormones.
Mm,
So, and also just the standard American diet that we eat is
mm-hmm,
likely making your liver sluggish.
mm.
So it's just this perfect storm of all these different pieces that can set off autoimmunity.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
Mhm.
then you slowly decide to add in animal protein, starting with
Right.
fish, chicken. Do you eat red meat now too?
I have just recently started adding some red meat.
How does it feel?
I feel better when I have it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then how did you take all of this learning into creating your own company and going on the mission that you're on?
Yeah. So one of the things that was happening, as I mentioned, was my hair was falling out and breaking. And my hairstylist was like, well, what's happening here? Like there's
Mm,
something's wrong. And again, this is your body's way of saying something is wrong. Your body says, I'm not going to put energy into growing your hair. I've got bigger problems to deal with. So
mm.
the symptoms are signals, right? So I was really distressed about that. And I read about collagen. And so I was like, oh, I got nothing to lose. I'll just start adding collagen to my diet. And like 6 months later, my hairstylist is like, oh my God, you have all this like new baby hair growth.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I'll just keep taking it. Well, then the idea came to me to do a collagen water because I thought that would be a really easy way for people to take it. Zero clue about the beverage space, too. Like, clueless. It's an old boys club. I had no idea what I was getting into. I didn't realize I was really getting into the trucking business because beverage is heavy. So
Hey,
it
we live and we learn quickly, right?
oof, it was a painful lesson. So I was written up in a trade article with Vital Proteins and Bulletproof for innovation with collagen. And then the next day, the founder, Kurt of Vital Proteins, ordered my product off my website. He'd just gotten a $19 million investment from Cavu Partners. And that was basically the beginning of the end. Beverage takes a huge amount of money to compete. I ended up not liking it. I went through a lot of sexual harassment in the industry. And
Oh,
oh, oh, I could write a book.
oh, interesting.
Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Um, and so I ultimately got out, and then I just went into powdered collagen.
I love
Uh,
it.
yeah, and just really wanted to find a high quality source. There's some pretty crappy sources out there that people are selling. So, and then from there, it's just really branching into um, creating content around how do you get through perimenopause and menopause. No one's really talking about that. My generation, I think, is really the first generation to say, hey, we want to look and feel good. You
Mm-hmm.
know, look at J-Lo, look at Mary J.
Oh
Blige.
my gosh, gorgeous.
Right. And part of that is because you just start coming into your own and you stop giving a shit what other people
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. So, for everybody who's watching, whether you're live or on the replay, I
Yeah.
encourage you to follow Elaine and check out her collagen that I use. I put it in my morning smoothies.
Right.
Sometimes I put it in coffee, but mostly it's in smoothies. And yes, also for the hair growth, skin, nails, all of
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
All of that. So
So,
it's important because we no longer eat a collagen rich diet.
mhm.
And
What's a collagen-rich diet? Like what does that entail?
so we used to, like, if I think of my grandmothers, they would make soups and stews where they would put the animal bones in
Mm-hmm.
and let it simmer all day. And that's
Mm.
where you get the collagen from. Well, now we've seen in the last, I don't know, 10 or so years, this return to bone broth. Bone broth has
Yes.
become a big thing.
Yes. people drinking their bone broth like in the mornings and on. I was always wondering what that was about. Now I understand. Okay.
Right, because they're getting the collagen, which is good for your gut health, your skin, nails, joints. My mom, you know, my cutie pie mom, who's I
Mm-hmm.
do,
Sweetheart.
she's adorable. She talks about being a kid, and they would just have bone broth, like because
Yeah.
it has all these very medicinal qualities to it. So she just
Mm.
came up with that. So we used to eat, as we say, the whole animal. Now we just eat a lot of muscle meat, right? We eat a lot
Mm.
of chicken breasts, boneless, skinless chicken breasts. So we're missing that collagen in our diet.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
Right.
Yeah, I feel as you're talking about how our diets have evolved, it's kind of crazy how just like, I don't know, in the past 50 years, how productionalized our food has become. And then and then as that, which I understand why, like it's so that it could be easier to ship, it could store longer, and
Yeah.
it's cheaper, and you can send it to like starving like nations or whatever. But in
Mhm.
the process, you're stripping all the nutrients and then therefore impacting your own health. And then for us who want to take our health seriously,
Yeah.
especially starting like you're telling me, like, start young so you don't have to like try to catch up when you're older.
Right.
Um, like we have to put more effort into having like, supplements and things like that to compensate for our diet pretty much.
Yeah. Well, I think COVID has shown us, right? We are
Mm-hmm.
the sickest nation on this earth
Mm,
in the history of the world. And we spend more money as a country on healthcare than any other country, yet we are the sickest. 88% of our citizens have metabolic disorders of some sort. So
mm. When you
it's
say metabolic disorders, you're talking about
diabetes, right? We have all these, we've heard this word comorbidities through,
mm-hmm,
right? Heart
mm-hmm,
disease, diabetes, all these autoimmune diseases, obesity. These are all lifestyle diseases. You
mm,
are not deficient in metformin, which is given to diabetics.
mm-hmm.
As you say, we eat a highly processed diet. So we are an overfed and undernourished population.
Mm,
We eat a ton of calories, but a
mm-hmm,
lot of them are void of any nutrition.
mm.
So do more cooking at home. Eat, eat real food, something that grew out of the ground or
Yeah.
you know, I'm the person in the grocery store. I'm always like creeping on other people's carts because I want to see what are people buying. Well, I just see boxes and boxes and boxes
Mm-hmm,
of packaged
mm-hmm.
and highly processed foods.
Yeah. You know what's also kind of sad is like, you learn that you try to shop on the perimeter
Yeah.
where you have like the proteins and eggs and vegetables, everything. But also that's more expensive than buying the processed foods. Like it's much more time consuming and expensive to make your own spaghetti sauce than just to buy the jar, right? So
Right.
it actually takes a lot of planning and time and money to like be healthy, right?
Well, it doesn't have to. And you know, you can either eat unhealthfully now and
Yeah, and pay for it.
you're going to pay for it down the road. So depending on where you live, can you go to farmers markets? Is that cheaper? Can you buy from all these different local farms now? Are you able to access any of that? There's these different, for example, for protein, can you buy from one of these subscription boxes and purchase your proteins that way?
Mm,
Um, there's ways to be creative. Certainly a lot of food at Costco to me is just it's just garbage. But some of the brands, the healthier brands, do sell there. Like, for example, if you don't want to make your own tomato sauce, there's a brand called, I'm probably not going to say it right, Rao's,
Mm,
Rao's,
yeah.
right? Turn it over, start to learn to read the ingredients on the food that you buy, right? Another huge, huge issue are seed oils, these crappy oils, rapeseed oil, also known as canola oil.
Mm-hmm.
It's an engine lubricant. Why are we eating it?
Mm,
Please don't eat things with canola oil, which if you go to restaurants, most of anything fried is fried in canola oil because it's cheap. Soy
mm,
oil. A lot of these oils are what make you feel like crap and make you look like crap.
mm.
So,
Yeah. I think we're learning now more and more how our diet impacts like how we feel, but also how we look. Like you can tell how somebody's diet is if like their skin's breaking out or how healthy their hair, nails, like you said, which is why we use Elaine Wellness collagen to supplement for our lack of collagen in our diet as well.
right.
Um, what would you say is like another important supplement or vitamin that we're missing in our diet? Do you know?
Yeah, it's super important to test your vitamin D levels.
Mm,
This is, we don't
that's
spend,
like just going out in the sun and getting
which is
vitamin D.
which is the best way. We've
Mm-hmm.
been told don't go in the sun, hide from the sun, wear tons of sunscreen and hats. Now, I'm not saying go out in the sun at noon and stay out there for 3 hours in the Florida sun.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but can you go out in the morning between 8 and 10 in the morning? Because the sunlight not only gives you vitamin D, but it also will help to regulate your circadian
Mm,
system, right? Which is your wake and sleep cycle. So getting that sunlight on your skin, what you can tolerate, right? Don't go out and get sunburned, but it's
mm-hmm.
okay to get sunlight on your skin. It's actually good for you. So a lot of autoimmune disorders, you will find people are very vitamin D deficient.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It's also what we found with COVID is a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
who had who really struggled with COVID were vitamin D deficient. So get tested for it and then find a good quality vitamin D supplement. And
Mm,
it takes time to bring that D level up, but that's a super, super important one.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that was one of the talking points for COVID. It's like, you just need to have a healthier lifestyle.
Right.
And the vitamin D, like going out for a walk and like, and I get it. Like if you were to live in the Northeast in the winter time or in a city like New York City, there's like can't really get sun. So,
Right.
I mean, I'm in Florida, so maybe that Florida sun kind of helped me during the crazy COVID season. Just being out in the sun and in nature. Like,
Yes.
I think the sun also helps with your mood, right? So, like, if you're happier, you're less, and in California, right, you're just like less stressed. So then you're less, I think, susceptible to whatever illness or sickness, right?
Right. I mean, I remember so my grandmother lived in the South and like she would put like blankets and pillows out in the sun as like a disinfectant.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Yeah.
old school. But
Yeah.
yeah, the sun is very healing. We've just been conditioned to think that it's terrible and we should hide from it. And actually, sunlight deficiency is a big contributor to illness. Now, bear in mind what I'm saying. Don't go out and get sunburned. That's not
Right.
the
That's a
point.
different thing. That's a different issue.
Right, right. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, I don't know, maybe it's because a lot of us are like indoors and in office environments.
yep,
So like we don't have the opportunity to like be in the sun, but even just like spending like 10, 15 minutes for a walk. Um, And I believe, well, like, you get the sunlight, you kind of reduce your stress and kind of relax for a little bit. But I believe like stress is also um, like it does something in your body, like cortisol and like inflammation, and then that just like compounds and then makes sicknesses, I don't know, come about, and you're more susceptible to it, right?
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
And COVID, obesity was the number one factor, and then stress and fear related disorders was the number two factor in not surviving COVID. So, yes, we live in a culture of go, go, go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, certainly now more than ever with what we've all been through for the past 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, you have to
Very,
find a way because it will drive cortisol, and especially women in perimenopause and menopause, you've got to learn to balance that stress.
mm,
And as you touched on, walking in nature, right? Being in nature outside is incredibly healing.
mm-hmm.
So
For your
get
soul too.
absolutely. So if you can break it up into 10-minute, 20-minute chunks to get outside and walk. And I
Yeah.
know there's this thought like to lose weight, you've got to run marathons or do Peloton or whatever. No, get out and get your steps every day.
Yeah.
That will help you lose weight because it's dealing with the stress and
Mm-hmm.
it's movement.
And there's sleep in there too, right?
Oh my gosh, sleep. You have to sleep, ladies. Sleep
Yeah.
is your secret, like beauty routine.
Hmm. Unfortunately, a lot of the moms who are like just having kids are
Yes.
lacking in the sleep.
Yeah.
But I know I've heard from like physical trainers and that say sleep is just as important as the training.
Oh
Like
yeah.
you need the recovery. You just need the recovery if you want to see improvement. If you're trying to lose weight, you need to, and it's like really simple. You need to like walk. You
Yes.
need walk, drink water, and sleep. And like people are thinking, like you said, I got to run a marathon. I got to lift like tons of weights. Like walk, drink water, and sleep. So it can be pretty simple. Um, if you could give our listeners like one tip and takeaway about lifestyle and supplements, what would you say?
I would say try to get your nutrition from your food,
Mm,
right? I think sometimes in Western medicine we want to just give you a lot of pharmaceuticals and send you out the door. I started to find in functional medicine that often they want to just give you a ton of supplements and send you out the door. And I finally learned you really should be getting your nutrients from your food. So, can you focus on start small? Can you eat one home cooked meal a day?
mm-hmm,
And I'm a huge fan of batch cooking. Can
mm-hmm,
you chop up veggies? Nowadays, you can buy them chopped and roast a big pan of vegetables, and then you've got some vegetables for a couple of days, right?
mm-hmm.
Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts. Those help you to poop out those excess estrogens and excess hormones.
Mm,
Can you take baby steps towards nourishing yourself by cooking at home?
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is a great tip, and I'm sure a lot of the women watching are going to start trying to make small moves. Even though, like, even in my family, I'm trying to eat like at home and
Mm-hmm.
be healthier. So, because I want to do it, like everybody in the family, obviously reaping the benefit of it
Yes.
too. So, I know my husband's like, well, I wasn't really on a diet, but I guess since like you're on it, we all have to kind of be on it. Just obviously, we're trying to be healthy, right? Because we want to be here and have the quality of life, which is
Yes.
the important part, right? So,
Right. Right. Because when you get that inflammation under control, it will set you up to not have diabetes as you get older, right? We become more metabolically inflexible as we age. So
Mm.
you don't want to have diabetes come on in menopause, right? Dementia and Alzheimer's, they're calling diabetes 3, right? That it's just
Mm.
inflammation run amok. So
Mm.
how do you, it's harder to think right towards my 70s, 80s, and 90s, but we're all living longer. But as
Mm-hmm.
I say, you want to be my mom and fly to Kauai for your 90th
Yeah.
birthday.
You want the quality of life.
You want it. You don't want to be in the hospital. You don't want to have to be cared for. And
Right.
that's
Right.
not living life. So take small steps. Don't look at it as a diet. I don't like that word. It's
Mm-hmm.
eating. I tell people, eat real food, right? Even starting with that can be
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, I agree. So, Elaine, how can people find you and work with you and connect with you?
Yeah, I'm at ElaineWellness.com. You can come over. That's my handle here on Instagram. I answer all my own DMs. So I'm happy to help you. Just bear in mind, I'm not a medical practitioner. This isn't medical advice. It's just my opinion. But I'm happy to point you in the right direction. I have some blogs on my website if you want to. I have a great one about how to get ready for doctor's appointments. I
Oh,
really believe you have to go in and be your own advocate. So
mm,
that's a great tool to have.
I love that. Elaine, thank you
Yeah.
for joining. I encourage everybody to go over to Elaine's handle, follow her. She has great, great, great information. I know I look to Elaine for a lot of like beauty wellness tips. So, and another fun part is that Elaine is going to be partnered with us in the Mamaverse with some of her collagen. So, reminder to all of those who are watching that if you want to get into the Mamaverse, we have a wait list. It's invite only. Click the link in bio and sign up. Thank you, Elaine, for
Oh my God.
joining us. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
dear friend. And I will catch up with you later. And thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks, Tuhan.
Bye.
Bye.